We do have a quorum. And first order of business, maybe before we even do the minutes, Jay, do you want to just give a little explanation or introduction of who's here and who's staying, who's leaving, and we can move on?
Sure. So I am the director of operations that oversees the new board coordinator role, new as of, maybe 6 months ago or so. And so Shannon has been our board coordinator for the past 3 months, but we'll be leaving next week. We're going to be re-advertising the position. So it will take some time to get someone new in, but in the meantime, Jen Rector, one of our executive assistants in the commissioner's office, will be assisting me with covering the board. So Jen is with us today to get a sense of how the meetings go. So you'll be hearing from Jen and or me for the next couple months.
Great. And Ryan, do you also want to just, for latecomers, introduce yourself and your purpose here today?
Absolutely. Greetings, everybody. My name is Ryan Burns. I'm legal program director here that's covers the units that include mobile home parks and work closely with Cynthia. Cynthia had a family issue that came up at the last minute, so I'm covering for her for this meeting. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So with that, I'm looking for a motion to approve the minutes of September 7th. They're sent out with the link for the meeting today.
So moved.
And do we have a second? I see Marcia.
I'll second, Mark.
Thank you. Any additions or corrections to the minutes? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Minutes are approved. Thank you very much. And I should give my apologies. I don't mean to be incognito, but I have a insolvable problem with Teams. If I put on my camera, it's going to freeze my computer. So apologies that I can't show my face here today, but I'm working on something that should have a solution by the next time we meet. So again, we're going to go a bit out of order here today as a courtesy to the inspection and enforcement folks. So Pamela, do you want to lead off?
So thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the board for taking us early. My name is Pamela Brown, Director of Investigations, and I'm here with Janita Hamill, Supervising Special Investigator, and she will lead off with the report.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the council. Again, thank you for taking us out of order. You will have in front of you the complaint file listing from September 1st, 2022 through November 30th of 2022. During that time, the department received, has 6 open files, and 1 case was closed during that time. Regarding the closed case, because I'm sure there would be questions from the council, it has been in the past, could I give information about it or anything else? I did try and research that, Mr. Chairman. The problem is the young lady in the real estate department who covered that file closed it prior to her retirement. And unfortunately, when I went into the computer tracking database, apparently when they were doing this process, they have a different system, because for Pamela Brown and I, for our staff, we put notes, we put documents, we upload everything. As we do it, what we do with the file, and if legal's involved, they put their notes, their documents and everything else. There was absolutely nothing that I could find that I could offer as to what this complaint was about or what she did or why.
Would it be possible for you to contact the complainant and find out if she, I mean, what the issue was and if she has any ongoing concern?
The file is closed. If I would discuss it with Pamela and
Yeah.
see if,
What I would say is generally we get, once we close a file, we send a closure letter out so that if there was a problem, usually we'll hear back, but we can review it. I don't want to, I'm sure that, the person knows that we are here, and because that person has gone for some time, that if there's any ongoing issue, I would assume that they would have given us a call back, especially a copy of the closure letter.
Yeah,
But is the closure letter in the file? Because it sounds like this inspector did not follow the rest of your protocol. So why would we assume that the closure letter went out?
Well, it's the protocol of how that particular division ran. In my division, we upload, we keep contemporaneous notes, everything that we do, there's an action item, we go into the system. When I inherited the mobile home parks, things were in boxes and paper files, and we had stopped using paper files many, many, many years ago, though that particular division continued on with that practice. So, but if it's important, I mean, we could reach out, but I really think that based on my experience and being here for 24 years, if a complainant is unsatisfied with the way that their file has been handled, they typically reach out to the, in that case, it was a real estate examiner or the inspector, supervisor. So they definitely would let us know.
This is Dave Delory. This is going to be one of my questions, as you anticipated. And so I am in complete agreement with Bennett that there should be a letter in the file explaining how and why the complaint was closed, and it should be public record. And knowing a little bit about the history of this park, which has been through a lot of trials and tribulations over the last 3 or 4 years, when the Consumer Protection, I believe this is the park that ordered the former owner to remove water meters. And then subsequently, there has been complaints since then. I would like to know that this has been, how this has been resolved. You can't just, say the old inspector retired and we don't know what it's all about. I don't think that's, we can't get any information, when the process is going on. And now we can't get any information when the process is closed.
Mr. Delory, the person retired, the director, Rick Maloney, retired. The next director that took over from that, Richard Hurlbert, has retired. To the best that I know, that's this file, and that's the answer. I'm not trying to say that there hasn't been problems with parks, that there aren't problems with parks, but that to the best of my ability, when something exists, we will get it. Director Brown and I did not inherit the overseeing of mobile home park inspections or investigations until 2018 and the latter part of 2018. And what we have now is the system that we use. I can't explain what directors who no longer work here do or what a person who retired does either.
Yeah,
I can tell you what we do today.
I think Bennett answered, addressed the question, addressed that earlier. I think it warrants to pick up the phone and find out what happened, despite the fact that, the other person retired. That's your responsibility now and I'm noting that is my understanding correct that that this report is supposed to be complaints that have been open since September?
It's what appears on the file since September. Yes, sir.
Right, because I'm looking at at this program and it says that this case was created in 2018.
Bennett, this is
Yes.
Mark Berkowitz.
Yes.
Can we move on and get to matters that are most important to the council rather than belabor this? I think DCP is doing the best job that they can under the current circumstances. She's stated that 2 people have retired back to back, and it's certainly understandable that, you know, with that, you know, she doesn't have, Ms. Brown doesn't have all the information that we're asking for, but I just ask that we stop belaboring this and we move on to matters that are most important to the council.
Yeah, I would just want to add that I'm not suggesting that the current regime is responsible for the behavior of someone who's retired out of a sister division and was helping out. I am suggesting, however, that where the file doesn't indicate that a person was informed of their rights and this thing has been sitting there for quite a while, that a phone call would not be amiss.
Okay, it's a closed complaint. I'm ready to move on. How do I get, since it's a closed complaint, we're allowed to get the person's, I see her name is Shelley Picard. Do you have a way to contact her in the file so I can contact her? Should be public record, right?
Yes.
Okay, that's a question for DCP. Okay, I didn't know who was speaking at that point. What I will say at this point, we'll take it under consideration. And yes, if whatever we can give you under FOI, send an email. You can send it directly to me under Freedom of Information. We'll provide you what we have.
Okay, that's what I'll do. Thank you. I'll email you, Pamela. Thank you.
Okay. Let's see where we are here. Have we lost the attorney from legal? Oh,
I'm here.
oh, there you are. Sorry, you just moved around on the screen, Ryan. Did you have any report on activities that have been referred to legal in the last quarter?
There's have been some items that have been referred, but nothing that would be appropriate for report at this time.
And no cases have been closed?
Correct.
I have a question. I understand you can't discuss it, but Ernie Schmidt in Clinton filed a complaint back in June. I understand it's been referred to legal back in September. Has that moved along? They are waiting for a resolution.
Obviously, I wouldn't be able to discuss that in a public session either way. But certainly I will make sure people are aware that concern exists.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. We've had an item on the agenda for a while. We weren't able to reach it last meeting. And we had expected Cynthia to be with us. Obviously, circumstances beyond her control. But we would like to have a fuller discussion with her at our next meeting about what we can learn and what residents are entitled to learn about complaints that have gone to the department. So Brian, I appreciate it if you just convey to Cynthia that we are eagerly looking forward to that discussion with her. There's
Absolutely.
been a lot of discussion literally for years, and we've had different policies from different administrations, and I think it'd be helpful if we could clarify some of this next time.
Absolutely, Mr. Chairman. Just so I can provide some more context, are there specific pieces of information or methods of communication that you're concerned about? I may be able to answer some of those
Yeah,
questions.
there's a
today.
long history, and I unfortunately can't go through it now. I'd be happy to talk with you or Cynthia offline
Okay.
about who can get what kinds of information about pending complaints. We've asked for at least the characterization of the nature of the complaint with more specificity than it's a mobile home matter or it's a dispute between the parties. And we feel like as a board, we really aren't in a position to carry out our statutory obligation with regard to enforcement without that information. And we've been pretty stymied for quite a while. So it's a
Okay.
broader discussion and it's pretty far ranging. It also goes to the rights of other residents in the park to know about complaints in their park and a variety of issues like that. So
Okay.
as I say, I think it probably makes sense to have an offline discussion so that Cynthia's fully briefed on. I mean, she's been here for most of it, so I think it's not going to be a surprise. But
Understood. Yeah, and what I can say is those are two very distinct questions. What information the department can provide to the board or the council is going to be a different universe of information than obviously what we can provide to the public during an ongoing investigation. You have certain obligations of confidentiality, and you also have a certain charge. That said, I certainly agree. I can pass along that information and would be happy to set up an offline communication at any time that's convenient.
yeah, and we're not looking to prolong this dispute. We're looking for a solution, and having board members sign a statement, binding them to confidentiality on certain matters, going into executive session. There are a variety of things we might do to facilitate a more complete exchange of information. So again, we unfortunately do not have time to get into that today, but look forward to it in the future.
Understood.
Thank you so much. And so with that, you're welcome to stay, but I understand that folks have other obligations and we won't take it amiss if you depart. So
Thank you very much.
good call. Thanks, and thank you all for the presentation on the complaints. So Pamela, unless you have something further or.
No, Mr. Chairman, thank you very much for, again, taking us ahead of the schedule, the agenda. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you to the council members. And I'll take this time and opportunity to wish everybody a happy holiday season. And I will see you next month or 2 months.
It's quarter, yes, 3 months.
Quarterly.
There we
Thank
go.
you, sir.
Enjoy the holidays as well. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Colette, we'll turn it over to you for whatever brief update you have for us on all or any of your mobile home programs.
Sure. So I believe, Bennett, you circulated a link to the Park Purchase Program, which is now posted on our website. So that is available. And I had kind of a recap meeting with some representatives from CDI as well as ROC, the folks that we had been meeting with who had helped CHFA significantly in designing the program. And they were very pleased with the product. So they had a lot of good feedback. So that was good to hear from them. And on the single family side, I'd like to introduce Brian. He's a new staff member here at CHFA and will be slowly learning more about the single family programs for the mobile home programs and kind of being the point person going forward on those. So I asked him to be here to introduce himself, but I know he's still getting up to speed and he wanted to just say a quick hello. I also wanted to let you know that There's been a new CEO named for Capital for Change, which is the nonprofit that we use to assist us with administering those programs. So we're hoping that that will also, and she's a former CHFA employee, so we're hoping that will also help strengthen not only the communication, but the delivery of the single family program as well. So Brian, I'm going to turn it over to you to introduce yourself. And again, Brian's very new, so he's still kind of getting up to speed on the programs, but I wanted him to be here today to say hello.
Thanks, Colette. I appreciate that. So like Colette said, I'm new here. I've been in the business for a long time, though. I came from People's United Bank, where I was there for 13 years, and I've been in the mortgage industry for about 20. But I'm the new business development officer here at CHFA. And like Colette said, I'll be attending the meetings every 3 months going forward. As she said, we don't have much new data right now from Capital for Change. We're in the midst of trying to get that with regards to new applications. But on the marketing side of things, I know we have a publishing piece coming out with the Connecticut Manufactured Housing Association's newsletter. And as always, we welcome any opportunity to provide any marketing materials to park owners or realtors or any stakeholder groups that may want them. If anybody's interested, the email address is marketing@chfa.org. And with regards to the My Home CT program, which assists homeowners that are affected by COVID and are struggling to make their mortgage payments, we're continuing to see that those applications for mobile and manufactured housing is approximately 1% of the total housing for Connecticut, which is proportional. The program still has funds, and in the coming months, we're exploring some direct marketing materials that we can send out to those that may benefit. We can send brochures out as well to anybody that wants them, or if there's any park owners or residential groups that want more information, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. Again, our email address for that is marketing@chfa.org. And I'm looking forward to joining every 3 months and helping out in any way I can. And thanks so much for inviting me. I appreciate it.
Well, welcome, Brian. We're delighted to have you here. We've been anticipating the arrival of someone to be reporting to us regularly on the program. And we're thrilled with both the refinance and the new home purchase programs. As thrilled as we are, dismayed at the slow take up. And so once you get the data, we haven't had any reporting. If you could share that, send it to me, and rather than waiting 3 months, when you do get
Sure.
If you could send it to me, I'll see that it's circulated to the council members.
No problem. Yeah, I'm actually working with my colleague Marcus on that, and we're hoping to get some data back from them soon. It's been a little hard to get it from Capital for Change for some reason, but there's some new leadership there, and we're hoping to get it soon. But as soon as I have it, Bennett, I'll certainly reach out to you directly and email to you.
Glad to hear about the change there. It's not the first time there have been serious bottlenecks with that organization.
Yeah.
And then it really crippled your program.
Yeah, I'm slowly discovering that, but hopefully we'll get it back on track.
Little to no processing activity on their end. So, yeah, thank you so much for that.
My pleasure, Bennett. Thank you.
Brian, I've got a question for you. I'm Ben Castaway, Chairman of.
Ben, can you speak up a bit? You're a little garbled.
Oh, can you hear me now? Is that better?
A little better.
Okay. I'm Chairman of the Real Estate Commission. I was just wondering on your marketing, do you contact CAR regarding any new programs that come out? Because I think part of the problems have been with the realtors is that they haven't had the information, and probably the best vehicle to use would be CTR. Is that part of your marketing?
I'm not familiar with that. This is all a little new to me. Colette, do you know if Marcus has utilized CTR?
You'd have to ask him. I'm not sure, but we can mention it to him.
I'll certainly find that out, Ben, and I can circle back to you and let you know.
Thank you.
No problem.
Bennett, I got a question for you. As far as the CHFA program goes for park purchase, is that getting to a point where it's getting on paper and finalizing it so people can actually see what's going on with that?
It's published. It's available.
It's on the CHFA website, and Cynthia arranged for a link to be put on 3 different pages on the DCP side. So it should connect to all 3 of the programs. The chief of landing page has all 3.
Mhm.
So that's what we're supposed to be linking to. I have not checked to make sure it's working. I see Jennifer's here. Welcome, Jennifer. We got started, I think, a little bit before you joined.
1 minute, Al, I can tell you more about this when we get off outside the meeting.
But I did want to just ask Jennifer if you could check DOH to see if you're carrying the link as well. I think it's important that all 3 agencies sort of, are in sync around access to these programs.
Okay, I will check internally. I will see if it's on our
Thanks.
website.
And please,
Welcome.
please let me know if it's not there or if there's any problem getting it there.
Okay, I will. Thank you.
Thank you. Colette, anything else before we move on? Great.
No, no other updates. Thank you.
Okay. So I just have one update about membership that I wanted to pass along. You'll recall that at our last meeting, town planner from somewhere in the southeast, and I can't remember which town, participated in our meeting and is very interested in our work and has applied for appointment to the panel, to the council rather, in place of Len, who has not attended for a very long time and is, I think as folks know, quite ill. By statute, he's deemed to have resigned because of his non-attendance, and the governor's office has informed me that they will be appointing for this town planner to replace Len, which I think is great news. We've been without input from professional with that perspective for some time. The other thing is that the governor's office is aware of vacancies on the resident side. And Dave, I believe that Tom Scanlon has been or will shortly be in touch with you about that.
Okay.
Do you have does your alliance have a recommendation for filling the vacancy?
Yes, we have 2 people that are interested.
Yeah, well, I think the governor's office is quite interested. So if you have something to move, appreciate it if you could get that going. And while it's not required by statute, the council has always endorsed the names submitted by both residents and the park owners when they put those forward. And so we would like to do that again once you are ready to proceed.
Will do.
Great. And then the last piece is we still have the vacancy for someone from banking finance. And I think that might be something we want to talk to Brian and Colette about in light of the revised and new CHFA programs. The hope had always been that these programs would serve, at least in part, as demonstrations to the banking community that there's, the water's fine, come on in. And obviously we haven't had the volume where I think we've been able to make that case. But I would certainly welcome suggestions from CHFA, as well as anyone on the council, about knowledgeable people who could help us have a better understanding of the market, but also help us in outreach, education, promotion to traditional financing sources about the need for them to take a fresh look and get involved. So, I've informed the governor's office that we were aware of the vacancy and that we will, enhance our exploration efforts and hope to come up with someone perhaps by the time of our spring meeting. So again, feel free, Brian and Colette, to send me an email, or we can arrange an offline conversation, whatever most convenient for you. And council members as well, please, any suggestions, send them along. So with that, I don't think we have any other necessary or urgent business that will present us from moving on to the main agenda item today. And I wonder if I could impose on Shannon as the webmaster here you have the spreadsheet that I sent out to everyone last night or yesterday during the day?
I don't believe I do. I didn't have any new emails this morning. So if
Yeah, I
you sent
thought
it
you
out
were-
last night, I was not in receipt of that.
Okay, I thought I had copied you, but I can't, unfortunately, I can't show my screen and I can't share my, I can't show my.
I
can't-
believe anyone who did receive that can share their screen if they
Oh,
wish
perfect.
to do so.
Yeah, so what I'd love is for someone who's got the summary of the voting for the priorities, if they would be bold enough to share the screen so that everyone can see it at the same time. Has anyone got access to it now?
Give me a second. I can share it if my camera's not working.
You don't need your camera.
Okay,
It's a
hold on
different
one
function.
second.
There's a share screen
Hold
Yep.
on. Let's see.
right in the bottom, the very bottom ribbon.
Yeah,
right
it
in the
should be
middle.
green.
Hold on. I got to get the document first.
So I can just share with you that the Priorities Committee met last week. We reviewed the results and have some thoughts about how to go forward from here. But I would like to have the document up before we jump into.
If it's, I don't know if it's easier if someone wants to email it to me and then I can do it, or if anyone, has the ability to share that on the screen. I mean, you have the ability, but if you haven't done it before, maybe it's a little trickier.
Dave, you're muted. Are you able to find the doc? Anyone else have it handy? It was attached to the email reminder that went out.
Bennett, can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yeah, I have the document up on my screen open in Gmail, but I don't, if I hit share screen now, is it going to show that?
well, if you click on share screen
Okay, here we go.
and then click on the document that you want to share, which is the
Hold on.
attachment.
How's that?
Oop, there it goes.
You got it. Good work. Thank you. Excellent. Okay, so what you're seeing is a summary of the 9 responses that we got. I believe it was 9. There were 4 non-responses. And what you can see in well, probably column D is the easiest way to see it. Column D shows you the rank order of the 7 actions that were listed. And item number 1 is row 8, promoting mobile homes as affordable housing. It got a total of 31 points. Not all 9 respondents scored it. 3 respondents made it their first choice, and another 3 made it their second choice, for a total of 6 first or second choice votes. Coming in at number 2 was row 7, public image and acceptance of mobile homes and mobile home parks, 28 points. 8 people responded. 3 people made it their first choice. No one made it their second choice. These are clearly the highest scoring with the greatest degree of interest across the console. When we get to the 3rd ranked, preserving and improving existing parks, came in number 3 with 24 points. 8 people scored it. 3 made it their second choice. Number 4 is row 23, a very close 4, close to number 3. This is the impact of out-of-state investors. Dave, if you could just move your cursor a little bit off the chart, that would be great. There you go. Came in at number 4, 7 people scored it. 2 made it their first choice, 2 made it their second choice. And then zoning came in at number 5, 8 people scored it. 1 made it a first choice and 1 made it a second choice. Total points 21. After that, numbers 6 and 7, dramatic fall off in the scoring. So the committee in our discussion really felt that the first and second choice items naturally kind of fit together, that we were going to have to do a lot of education work to build acceptance and understanding of mobile homes in order to be able to promote them. So that we thought that number 2 probably preceded number 1, sort of laying the groundwork for that, and that those could reasonably be combined into one fairly large priority project for the council to undertake. People generally agreed, in fact, strongly agreed, that part of the promotion would include some work on zoning, but that any widespread changes in local zoning would really depend upon the work we do on the first and second priorities. In other words, again, laying the groundwork for persuading individual towns to adopt more friendly zoning policies. Related to that is priority number 3, which is preserving and improving existing parks, that the conditions of many of the smaller and older parks are such that they really send an inaccurate message to the public and to local communities about what mobile home living is all about, and really would hinder our efforts at promoting mobile homes. So that priority number 3 and number 5 seem some essential components of our first 2 priorities, although they might take a very different path. And so I would like to open this up for general discussion from council members who were not part of the committee, get your reaction to all this. But I first want to say that while I envision, well, let me be clear, we said from the get-go that we were looking for actions that could unite the council with a very strong consensus. I doubt there's going to be anyone who objects to those that we've called out. But I think it's important that we all be committed to this effort and that we work in harmony. We have enough issues that could divide us if we wanted to go down that road, but that's not what this effort is about. The second thing is, while I think that 1 and 2 will require the engagement of the entire council, and I agree that 3 and 5 may have to take a different path and different timing. I think it's worth convening the legislative committee to at least begin a low intensity exploration of what might be done at the state level through tweaks to the existing zoning statute, and also to utilizing existing programs or creating a new program that would provide assistance to parks that needed to upgrade their infrastructure. So I think that work could go on with a smaller group at the same time as we're all moving forward on the main priorities without distracting people from the really critical stuff we've got to get done. So with that, I would like to open it up to the entire council. And please speak up.
So Bennett, this small survey really speaks to what our charge is as a council, which is to promote mobile homes in the state, whether through education programs, whether overseeing legislative activities. So I think this again goes directly to our charge. I think most of us would agree that when we see articles on the industry, it's generally not positive. So as an industry, I think we have an obligation to push back and talk about the safety and affordability of our homes and in the state. Although we represent such a small part of the housing stock, it's still important that we continue to promote the industry. So with that being said, I think all these items in the list are important. I think some of them are much more feasible to attain, and some of them are things that frankly we should be doing as a council, which is promoting mobile homes as affordable and seeing that public image of the mobile homes is positive in the state. So I'm a big proponent of putting this out to the council and seeing what ideas people have, but I think this is important moving forward.
I agree, Mark. So Bennett, one of the things, I know you had left the meeting a little bit early. One of the things that happened in Washington, D.C. this year was what they called Homes on the Hill, which is where manufacturers actually brought new exciting homes and put them on the Hill in the Capitol, and had local senators and the media touring the homes, giving interviews. It was extremely positive, and local legislators were blown away with how far our industry has come. I think in talking with the MHI, which Nancy and I have a great relationship with, I think probably one of the first things we should probably try to get set up for next year, which is to have a home brought to, or 1 or 2 homes brought to the state capitol. Make sure we have a media blitz around it, have the senators, anybody who wants to come. And then once it starts kind of getting out there, that's how you can kind of start working on the zoning thing a little bit in the background, which is to get people excited about it. And then they want to have that kind of stuff in their communities. And I think you need to make it exciting to be able to kind of move the needle a little bit.
Yes,
That's really what I'm thinking, the first thing we should be working on.
I agree completely. And by the way, I did hear that full presentation. I was very impressed with it. And I was sitting at lunch next to one of the manufacturer's reps who I mentioned to you, I forget who it was. But he expressed great interest in and thought it was feasible to be able to bring a home to the Capitol this winter. And I think it's important that if we're going to do this year, we have to keep in mind the cycle of the legislature. This is a long year, which is good.
Yeah.
It's also a year where they do new budget and new substantive legislation, as opposed to the year after this, which is a short, hairy year, which is just for budget adjustments.
Sure.
And I think we want to get in, if we can, before all the committee deadlines happen and they're all crazed trying to get their bills out, and they have more time. If we can get something going, say by February, or even perhaps early March, I wish.
Yeah, I've been, not for nothing, but I'd like it to be at least outside of the big winter. You don't want to be bringing it home during when there's potential for, a foot of snow. It seems.
Never going to snow again, Mark. It's okay.
I appreciate your.
I hear you. I hear you. Yeah. All right. Well, we'll come back to that. I'd like to give everyone else a chance. And what I think I'll do is just go down the membership as I see you here. And if you've got something to say, please come in. Colette, you're next on my list.
I don't have any comments at this time, Bennett.
Thank you. Dave.
Well, I was on the subcommittee. I think I made my feelings pretty clear on this at that time. I'm in agreement that promoting mobile homes as affordable housing and public image, promoting public image and acceptance of mobile homes, mobile home parks is very important. I think that both of those things are important in that if you ever want to have municipality, at least under current law, change zoning to allow more intensive use of mobile home development of mobile home parks, you're going to have to do that, along with number 3, preserving and improving existing parks. The question becomes, how do you change the public image of mobile homes? And I'm perfectly fine with bringing a newer, more advanced construction mobile home up to the Capitol and showing the public and our legislators what's out there now. But I've said it before and I'll say it again. Trying to convince local officials to change zoning laws when they look at conditions in the existing parks is going to be a hard sell. And so I made the point during subcommittee discussions that I think it's imperative that some of the parks around the state in places that are unseen, that have deteriorating roads and problems with our infrastructure as far as water and septic systems needs to be addressed. And I brought up the idea of some public financing possibly being a legislative priority for that, with the caveat that if any kind of financing like that or tax credits were put in place to help existing parks, that there be some sort of oversight as far as keeping a capital reserve in place so that the same cycle doesn't start to create itself. For example, if septic systems were replaced or a water system was updated, so that 25 years from now, the same issue doesn't rear its head. So what I'm really arguing is that some public financing for existing parks to upgrade should be considered, and with some oversight as far as capital reserve, so that those systems can be replaced as they age, and that's also something that would help improve the image and promote mobile homes as affordable housing.
Thank you. Nancy?
I also was on the subcommittee and I support the priorities as the number 1 and 2 in particular. And I do think that we can work on zoning as we get through those 2 priorities. I think it'll, by improving the image, it will help the zoning issue.
Marcia?
Good morning. I'm supportive of number 1, obviously the promotion of mobile homes as affordable housing. I am also supportive of doing a house on the hill. I was involved when we did one probably 20 years ago or so, Bennett. I unfortunately, like Mark, don't want to do that in the middle of the winter. You would have then also heating problems, and it's there's nothing colder than a cold mobile home. That being said, I'll move on to number 2, the public image and acceptance of mobile homes. I mean, obviously, we've been in business for 65 years, so we constantly try and do that. You know, you get open houses and people are always amazed at what they're seeing. And then number 3, preserving and improving existing parks. I'm in the middle of a septic problem now. It affects 3 homes. I've been working with the state DEEP for over a year now. It does not happen quickly. So I just want you to make aware that you may see that there's an issue going on in your park or in a park that you're aware of, but it may take the park owner some time to resolve that issue. That's the end of my comments.
Thank you.
Wishing you all a happy holidays if I don't talk again.
Thank you, Marcia. Ben, how about you?
I'm also in support of one.
Ben, you're a little muted. Can you get
Yeah.
closer?
I'm having a problem with my speaker right now. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. I guess the main thing is the affordable housing. You know, over the years, I'm more or less involved in residential, but we do sales in mobile homes. But the big problem has always been the cost of the lease, the landing of the rental of the property. And as one person I said one day is that, you know, why don't you consider manufactured home? And you reply back, well, if you do the math, it's like buying a house about $65,000 more because of the cost. So I think it's something we have to work on, is to make it affordable. CHFA has been good, but as you know, it's been, since I've been on the council, it's been a hurdle to get financing. Only because the fact is when FHA is involved, it's difficult. We've learned that.
Okay. Anything else?
That's it.
Thank you. And next up, Jennifer.
I don't have anything, Bennett. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Let's see who's, Al, are you still with us? I'm not seeing you.
I'm there.
Okay.
So obviously, everything that's on there, regardless of the ranking, it needs to be taken care of in whatever manner it can be. But as far as some of the problems that are showing up a lot more lately, if you look at the Facebook stuff and, you know, that kind of thing, there is more and more small parks that are out there that are having problems with these out-of-state investors, where they're raising their rents like $200-300 above what they were before. I don't know what the state wants to do about it, but if that trend continues, you're going to be losing parks in this state. Those people cannot afford the increases that they're throwing at them. 2 other things would be the existing parks, improving them. That needs to be done. I'm not exactly sure what the state wants to do to help out as far as that goes. And the other thing was, because I don't really believe that people in communities that are out there really understand or have a clear version of what to do if they're thrown in their face that the park is going to close, how they can actually get control of the finances, the funds, the program to actually help themselves out and purchase their own community. Yeah, that'd be my opinion of stuff.
Okay. Have I missed anybody? Dave, it'd be good if you could stop sharing at this point. And that will put the,
Hold on, let me see what I can, oh, I see the button. Hold on.
Just be careful you don't share something you don't want to share.
What are you implying, Mark?
Nothing at all.
there you go.
I just know
Perfect.
from my own experience, Dave.
Oh, yeah. We've all done that. We've all done that. Dangerous. Yeah, it looks like every council member's had a chance to speak. So I sense that we have a pretty good consensus here about moving forward. What I'd like to do is convene two committee meetings. One would be well, we've had a committee called Education. We can enlarge that to mean, you know, education and promotion, and invite all members of the council who are willing to help out in any way with this project to show up. And I'm wondering if the park owners would take responsibility for brainstorming and exploring some options for a home on the hill, and be able to present those at the committee meeting.
I don't know how fast we'll be able to do it, but I will work with Mark and Nancy and Marcia and whoever to work, because the MHI will be very kind of helpful in how they accomplish such a big one. And we should be able, and I think Champion's interested in bringing a home there. I don't know if we want to try to get another manufacturer to come as well. I'm sure they would like to try. There's no reason to leave anybody out. So we'll just kind of get a taste of where, you know, how those guys want to help us put it together, and then, you know, we can report back to you guys.
So I will confer with Rafi, who obviously has not yet made it here, and may not be coming.
He sent a question in the Q&A, but I don't see it anymore, saying he tried to log in. But was only he wasn't a panelist, he was something else, and then he wasn't, I guess, given access. Oh, here he is. So if you look at if you go to the question, no, that's okay. Yeah, no problem. All right, yeah, I see it. Yep, no problem. So anyway.
All right, well, I will check with him on the legislative schedule. But what would you say would be the earliest in March that it would be feasible to set this up? Because I think if we go beyond that.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd like to talk to a manufacturer first to get there, because they have, the problem is the manufacturer, you're dealing with people who are actually making homes for a living, you know, so for them to stop and manufacturing a home for a user to say that they want to put something together and ship it out, I can't answer that question without talking with them. I know they're interested. I know they've offered, and I will take them up on it. I don't want to speak for them.
Okay.
I just can't.
Yeah, so we'll have to obviously operate.
I'll start floating it around. You know, I'll start floating it around now. Just tell them what our plan is and let them respond.
All right. Well, I will convene the education and promotion meeting in early January, early to mid-January. I hope that gives you time to do some preliminary exploration. But obviously that's a critical piece, but it's not the only piece, and we have to brainstorm what other actions we can start taking around that, both laying the groundwork for it and also going beyond that to get the facts out about mobile homes. I think one of the things that we didn't do very successfully back 15 or 20 years ago when we last had the Home on the Hill is we didn't make the concerted effort through the industry and the residents association to reach out individually to all of the state reps and have their constituents from both sides aggressively urge them to show up and actually make appointments with them to go visit the home together, and then try to get, you know, a reaction out of them on video, right? A whole bunch of stuff that people who are sophisticated in marketing could probably help us with, about how to fully capitalize on this event, how to get, you know, great press coverage, maybe get the governor and the senators to you know, kick it off. Who knows, a variety of events around it, but then also to Mark Berkowitz's point, I think working on a longer term free media strategy where we get positive stories out there that are reinforcing. So all of that, I think, is for a working meeting of the subcommittee. And I will also, as I said earlier, schedule a meeting of the legislative committee to just sort of outline some possible things we might look at, depending on the timing, of course, that would relate to zoning and subsidizing in some fashion improvements to existing parks. Because I think it's important to know sort of what's out there that might be used for that purpose, where the agency like DOH, for example, has a program that could be used for that purpose, and to what extent we would have to perhaps modify that program or create a new one to achieve our objective. So I think we'll move on those two fronts. Obviously, the education promotion will be the priority. And I'm hoping that we're a small group, and I'm hoping that everyone will step up, because you all have different perspectives, different histories and expertise, and we're going to need all of your help to pull this off. So with that, I throw it open for anyone who's got additional thoughts, comments.
Ben, this is Dave. I'd like to ask the park owners, and I'm going to be operating from, admittedly, a position of ignorance. I've been on the council for, I don't know, 4 or 5 years. I know a lot of you have experiences that go back way further than that. But from my perspective, as far as the existing park, so I'm all for promoting newer mobile homes as a solution to the long-term affordable housing crisis. That's almost a no-brainer for me, if you can figure out a way to get towns to convince them to allow it. But I see, from my perspective, an awful lot of older parks that have difficulties with septic systems and water systems, and don't seem to have the wherewithal or the will to make the kind of investments that would be necessary to clean that up and make the park a more attractive place to live, which would make it, you know, more, improve their image. Has there ever been in the past any kind of program that was thought about or tried to get some sort of subsidized or low interest government loans for older communities to do that kind of improvement? Has that ever been discussed or tried anywhere? I know of a couple places. There's a park way up in upstate New York near Plattsburgh, where some sort of quasi-governmental organization stepped in and helped upgrade the septic system. And I think something similar has happened in California and Colorado, but I'd have to go back and find those articles. But has there ever been tried that you know of? Is it just something that can't happen, or it just hasn't?
Dave, I've been here for the 39 and a half years that the council's been in existence, and to my knowledge, there's never been an effort at creating or or trying to take advantage of an existing program for that purpose. That doesn't mean, though, it hasn't happened at a local level. Municipalities get housing money that they have a fair degree of discretion about using, especially for low-income residents. It is possible that some of that money has been used locally. Jennifer may be able to tell us if there are DOH programs that have been utilized for mobile homes. I'm not aware of that having happened, but it doesn't mean it hasn't.
Does anybody else know anything about any other park owners have any knowledge of this kind of program anywhere else? Crickets.
Jennifer, I believe you told us at one point when we were working on the park purchase program that there were some programs at DOH that could be utilized for some of the costs that would be incurred. The residents needed to do some infrastructure or other capital improvements and needed funding beyond what CHFA might finance. Can you refresh our recollection about that? Jennifer, you're on mute if you're still with us.
Okay, so if I can organize a little directory of information that I can send to everybody on where things like this have happened in other states, because I know that it has.
Definitely.
I'll send it out, and I'll just give you an example of where I think it could help.
Yeah, please do, Dave. And specifically, check with I Am Home, because that's where I heard about this in that presentation they did, I guess, a year ago now. And I don't remember what states they were talking about, but I know that there were advocates who had created or were working towards the creation of programs that would provide low interest loans and, I believe, tax relief.
Okay, I'll look for that. I did watch that presentation. I don't remember that particular aspect of it, but it's a good place to start. Along with, I already have some of these saved. I just give you an example. In Beacon Falls, there's a park there, about 50 units. They have aging septic systems that are shared by 2 to 3 homes apiece, which then dispersed to a larger collective septic system. Those systems in that community, the residents cannot have a washing machine in their homes, and there is no sewer on the street. So to extend the sewer line down there is probably way beyond the means of, although it's probably a better solution. It's way beyond the means of the owner or residents. So to me, some sort of subsidized financing for the park owner would be a way to improve his position long term and the residents' positions long term. So to me, that's an ideal candidate for some sort of governmental or quasi-governmental action that would keep an existing park going and allow it to improve its image and not get the negative publicity that comes from stuff like that.
Yeah,
So I'll look into it and get it out to you guys.
Yeah, I think it's great if you want to pursue that. Jennifer, are you still there? No, I guess we've lost Jennifer. I will try to recruit her for our committee meeting and see if she can bring to that information about existing programs at DOH that at least potentially could be utilized for this purpose. Anyone else before we adjourn? If not, thank you all very much. I hope you have a great holiday season and look forward to getting down to work first thing in January. So,
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
care.
Happy
Happy
holidays.
holidays.
Thank you.
so long.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.